Hey guys, it's Kasera, and today I'm going to be doing my October week 3 reading vlog. Sunday, October 13th, and I'm going to start out with the books that I'm currently reading. So for my audiobook right now, I'm currently listening to the audiobook for Tunnel of Bones by Victoria Schwab. So this is a middle grade novel, and it's about ghosts, so it has kind of like this spooky vibe. It's kind of like a fantasy horror, sort of, but like it's a middle grade horror, so it's not actually that scary, but I'm really enjoying it so far. This is the sequel to City of Ghosts. I do really enjoy it, and I'm actually almost done with the audiobook. I'll be updating you guys on how that one's going soon. I'm also reading Blood of Elves by Andrzej Sapkowski. This is the first novel in the Witcher series. I'm not very far into it. I'm about 80 pages into it. I'm enjoying it so far. I want to see where this is going. There's not a whole lot has happened yet. Let's put it that way. Just not a whole lot has happened yet. I don't know where it's going, even though at the end of Sword of Destiny, I had a pretty good idea where this book was going. So I don't know. It confused me a little bit in the first 80 pages, but we'll see how this one goes also. I'm actually really excited for this one. I'm also reading The Throne of Five Winds by S.C. Emmett on my Kindle. This was an e-arc that I got from NetGalley, and that one's coming out on October 15th, so this week. So I'm really hoping to try and finish it over the next couple of days so I can do a review for it this week, hopefully. Fingers crossed. That one is interesting because it's high fantasy with a lot of political intrigue, and I'm loving the political intrigue. It's not as complex as I would have hoped it would be, considering it's supposed to be 5 different countries. So far, we've only really been introduced to 2 countries, but so far I'm enjoying it. The main portion of the plot right now is revolved around a princess whose marriage has been arranged to a prince from one of the other countries that has conquered her kingdom. It's interesting so far, but almost nothing has happened because it's just been bouncing around between a bunch of different point of views over the same idea, and they're just the princess has gone to the other kingdom, and that's about it so far. So hopefully the plot will pick up a little bit and I'll enjoy it more. But I do when I'm reading it, I feel myself wanting to continue reading and not realizing the amount of time that's going by. So that's always a good thing, because it means I'm literally feeling I'm in this world. So I'm pretty happy about that. My unwrapped book for this week was Jewels of the Sun by Nora Roberts. I decided to start this one early just because I've been really bad at starting my unwrapped books. So I've read the first chapter. So this one is a romance. I think it's a romance. It might just be contemporary. It's about someone who quits their job to basically take a sabbatical in Ireland, but they don't take a sabbatical, they just quit their job. Basically, they went to Ireland to learn all their family history and everything, which so far, from what I've read from it, I really like the atmosphere of this book, and I think the writing is really good. So we'll see how I end up liking the plot and characters and everything like that. So it's still Sunday, and I just finished Tunnel of Bones by Victoria Schwab. I really enjoyed this book. I don't really have that much to say about it. I like Cassie Blake, the main character. I really like her personality, and I really like her best friend, Jacob, and they have some fun times. So I enjoyed it. I gave it 4 stars. I decided to start Anna Dressed in Blood by Kendare Blake, which was actually on my TBR for this month, and I didn't realize that it's also a ghost story. So it's very similar to Tunnel of Bones, except Anna Dressed in Blood is supposed to be YA, and Tunnel of Bones was middle grade, obviously. So we'll see how this goes. But I hadn't really planned to read that many ghost stories this month, but it's fine. It'll be fine. Hopefully, I'll end up liking this one as well. October 14th, and this morning I finished Anna Dressed in Blood by Kendare Blake. I really enjoyed this book. I liked the beginning of it. I liked what it was leading up to. I was a little disappointed by Anna. She just wasn't what I was expecting from the book, and that made me a little sad. I really liked some of the darker scenes. I think they were really, really well done, but like towards the end, I started getting a little bored by the book. So I ended up giving this one 3.5 stars. I still think it's a good book. I still think it's definitely worth the read, and I definitely recommend it if you want some YA horror. But for me, it just didn't do everything that I wanted it to do. I've also made a bit of progress on Blood of Elves by Andrzej Sapkowski. I'm on chapter 3 now. I'm finding that I'm liking this book a lot better on audio than physically. Because physically, when I read this book, I tend to get a little bored, but on audio, like I'm really drawn into the story. I think the writing just lends really well to audio, and because audio is kind of like my go-to for most books, I'm like leaning more towards the audiobook on this one, so I think I'm gonna finish this one on audio. So this is gonna be my next audiobook instead of picking up my next like thriller or whatever. So far, I am enjoying this book, and I'm definitely excited to see where this is going because it has a very interesting premise, and I'm excited for this one. It's Tuesday, October 15th, and I finished Blood of Elves by Andrzej Sapkowski. I actually did really enjoy this book. It was different than I was expecting because the other two books that I've read so far in the series followed Geralt more, and then this book followed a few other characters, but there wasn't as much of the actual Witcher Geralt in it, which was interesting. Or Geralt, I think it's Geralt, my bad. Anyways, so it was interesting to get like different points of views, but it definitely felt a new beginning of the series rather than like a continuation of the short stories, in my opinion. But I do really enjoy this world, and I really enjoy the writing style in particular. I really, really love the writing style, and I think the audiobooks are really, really well produced. So I ended up really enjoying this, and I gave this 4 stars. I'm kind of like going through my audiobooks a little bit faster than I expected to, so I decided to pick up an audiobook that was not on my TBR for this month. So I picked up The Shadows over Innsmouth by H.P. Lovecraft. I've been like reading quite a few of H.P. Lovecraft's stories recently, and this is one of his longer ones. All of his stories are like really short. This one's at least like a 3-hour audiobook, so I decided to pick it up, and so far I'm enjoying it. It's really short, so I should be done with it soon, and I'll let you know more what I think about it when I finish it. It's Wednesday, October 16th, and yesterday I finished the audiobook for The Shadows over Innsmouth by H.P. Lovecraft. It was probably like one of my least favorite of Lovecraft's work that I've read so far, but at the same time, I still really enjoyed it. I didn't get as much of a creepy vibe from this one as I did from some of his other stuff. Though, the only other 2 that I read by him so far are The Call of Cthulhu and At the Mountains of Madness, which are like some of his most famous works, so that's probably why. But I did really enjoy it, and I ended up giving it 4 stars. I finished reading that like while I was driving, so it was in an audiobook like bind up basically with Dagon, which is one of H.P. Lovecraft's like other short stories that he's written. So I ended up reading that as well, which is super short. It was like less than an hour. Like I looked up the number of pages, and it's like 13 pages in the Kindle edition or something like that. So it's like super short. It was good, but like there wasn't very much to it. Let's put it that way. I feel like it had a little bit more of a creepy vibe, especially the ending and The Shadow over Innsmouth did. It was a lot shorter, like a lot shorter. So I couldn't really get as into the story. Both of those kind of have like the same sort of vibe, and I enjoyed that one as well. So I ended up giving that one 4 stars as well. After that, I started The Kind Worth Killing by Peter Swanson. I'm about halfway through it now, and I'm really enjoying it. So this is about basically 2 strangers that meet in an airport bar. It's a man and a woman, and they come up with a plan to kill his wife, who is cheating on him, which is just like a wonderful premise. And there are definitely some really good twists and turns in this book so far that I was not expecting. I really like the way this is done. It's definitely a good like classic thriller setup, and I'm really enjoying it. If you can hear that, that is rain outside. It is raining really hard right now. So I haven't made really any progress on physical books. I've been really tired. I have a few days off because I'm doing like a weird schedule next week. So I'm gonna be doing some traveling, and I'm gonna have a little bit more time for reading physical books, hopefully. So I definitely want to continue on with The Throne of Five Winds. the main reason I haven't been reading that is just because I haven't been able to find the time to like actually sit down and read it. So it came out yesterday, so I really, really want to finish it and upload my review for it. I'm really excited for this one. So I'm gonna go work on that now, and I'll show you later. Killing by Peter Swanson. I really, really enjoyed it. I loved the way the ending was done. I think it was realistic, but at the same time, it gave me what I wanted from that ending. So it was just like really well done. There were just some aspects of it, just like the structure of the novel, that were not my favorite. But overall, I really enjoyed the book, and I ended up giving it 4.5 stars. I did make a bit of progress on The Throne of Five Winds by S.C. Emmett. This book so far, like, I love the world building. The world building is so rich in this book, and I like all of the political maneuvering and things that are going on in this book, but it's really slow. Like, it's really, really slow. I just want the action to get started. I have a feeling it's gonna be leaning a little bit more towards like the romance side of action rather than like violence, if you know what I mean. So we'll see how that goes. Hopefully I'll end up liking it. So far though, like, it definitely keeps my attention and makes me want to keep reading more while I'm reading it. But I read it really slow. At least it feels really slow. I think it feels slow because I'm reading it on my Kindle. So like I'm only seeing the percentage rather than like the page count, which like I'm sure I'm like 300 pages into it, but it's like 32%. So it feels like I've only read like a little bit, even though I probably read a lot. I'm definitely enjoying that one. My goal though is to start Seveneves by Neal Stephenson. I really wanted to finish The Throne of Five Winds around the same time as The Kind Worth Killing because I have the audiobook for this one and I want to switch between the audio and the physical book for this one. So I'll probably start this one physically, and then tomorrow when I start listening to audiobooks again in the morning, I will continue on with this one in the morning as an audiobook. I'm pretty excited for this. This is sci-fi, and Neal Stephenson is a really well-known sci-fi author that I've never read before, so I want to read some of his work. I've heard this one is really good, and it has a really interesting start. The first line is just like, it's a hook for anyone. The moon blew up without warning and for no apparent reason. So I'm definitely excited to start this one. So it's Thursday, October 17th, and I made quite a bit of progress on Seveneves by Neal Stephenson. And this book reminds me a lot of The Calculating Stars by Mary Robinette Kowal, because this thing happens, this big thing happens, and it's basically an apocalyptic event, and the world has to figure out a way to make humankind continue on after it, which is just a great concept, and I'm really enjoying it so far. I haven't really gotten too attached to any of the characters or anything like that, but I really like how the plot is going. I do prefer listening to the audiobook than reading the physical book, which makes me a little sad because I like reading physical books when I get a chance, but it's good because I'm going to be doing quite a bit of driving today, so I will have a lot of time today to continue on with the audiobook. So I'm definitely excited for that. Okay, it's Saturday, October 19th. I've been reading Seveneves by Neal Stephenson, and this book is so freaking good. Like, it's so weird, but like in a cool way, and I'm really enjoying it. I'm right there, so I finished part 2. And this book, like, it has 3 parts in it, obviously. The first part is so different than the second part. Like, the second part has a completely different vibe than the first part, and the way the second part ended, I think the third part will have a completely different vibe than the first and second parts also. And I'm really, really excited for it. Like, I got super, super into like the ending of the second part, and I'm definitely excited to see where this one's going because part 3 starts with 5,000 years later. So yeah, definitely excited for this, and I can't wait to see what happens. I have made a bit of progress on Jewels of the Sun by Nora. This is my unwrapped book for this week, and I'm right about there now, and if I want to keep this book, I need to read 100 more pages before the end of the day, which I'm actually really enjoying this book. I've just been distracted by other books like Seveneves, for example, and I haven't really gotten around to reading this one that much. but so far it's really good. It also has like some ghosty vibes to it, so like it's actually not bad for this time of the year also. So hopefully I can get the 100 pages read and keep this book for later. So that's like my main goal for today, is to read 100 pages in this book. But there's a good chance that I'll make some good progress on Seveneves as well. So it is Saturday night. I got to right about there in The Jewels of the Sun, which is 50% of the way in. So I get to keep this book this week. I've made a bit of progress on Seveneves by Neal Stephenson. I understand the title now. Like, I understand why it's called Seveneves, and I really, really like why it's called Seveneves. I'm super excited to finish part 3, but obviously I haven't read it yet, but I'm super, super excited for this. I did make a little bit of progress on the Throne of Five Winds. I don't really have any more comments on that. I'm probably not going to finish any of those books tonight, so there's only one thing I have left to do before signing off on this vlog, and that is to unwrap my book for next week. So I got The Star-Touched Queen by Roshni Chokshi. So I will be reading this as my unwrapped book for next week. If you've read any of these books, let me know down in the comments. I would love to discuss with you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed watching. I post frequently in this channel, so consider subscribing. If you like this video, please give it a big thumbs up to support my channel. All social media links are in the description down below. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.